Hello, sexy souls, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm so happy you're here, and I'm sending you so much love and light as always. My name is Maya Amar, and I'm a trauma, manifestation, and embodiment coach here to help you heal and manifest all your beautiful desires, and especially to defy all limiting beliefs. So, thank you for tuning in today and taking the first step towards creating the life that you desire. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about Sexy Soul Manifestation Academy and why I created it and the meaning behind the name. So the idea actually came to me when I was on my summer vacation this past summer. And I was just sitting there and thinking of the name that I wanted to have for the business because I knew I wanted to start my own coaching business and help people. And while at the time it was more manifestation based, and now it's definitely very trauma focused, with manifestation in there, I still knew that I needed to create something to be able to deliver to people. And while I was sitting there and thinking about it, the universe just kind of went, here you go. And Sexy Soul Manifestation Academy is what came to me. And I asked the universe, I said, Sexy Souls or Sexy Soul? And he said, no, just Sexy Soul. And I said, okay, that sounds pretty good. It was like a little download that came. And I've never looked back. So I created Sexy Soul Manifestation Academy with the one true purpose and goal to help as many people heal as I possibly can, whether that be through the one-on-one coaching, the master classes, the academy, whatever it may be. So currently the Sexy Soul Healing Academy is in the making, and further down the line there will be Sexy Soul Manifestation Academy, but that one will be much bigger and much longer and much more in depth. So that is going to take a little bit of time in the making, but Sexy Soul Healing Academy will also be very in depth, but it will be very trauma informed and focusing on the healing aspect, while the Manifestation Academy will most likely have both of trauma healing and manifestation. So the reason I created it is a little background. I personally went through my own traumas, and life throws things at us, as I'm sure everybody here has been through something in their life that was traumatic. It doesn't have to be, being a veteran or anything like that. A lot of trauma just comes from unfortunate experiences that we might have, and I actually explained what trauma was on my podcast, Sexy Soul Podcast. I will link it down below for you guys if you want to listen to that podcast episode. And I do a little bit more on there as well of how to identify your limiting beliefs, and that was a very interactive podcast as well, where there was a lot of questions you had to ask yourself, and I don't give you the answers. You have to give yourself the answers. I give you all the good questions you need to ask. But anyhow, so I reached out to a trauma coach and a manifestation coach, and as soon as I delved right into that world, I knew there was no going back. Because once I started doing the work and truly healing, I couldn't believe how I was living my life before, And it's not some cheesy line of like, oh, it was like a light bulb moment, but it was an eye-opening moment, and I was a very functional human being, as we all are. But once you truly dive into this work and recognize your triggers, your wounds, everything that you've been through, you'll start to really connect the dots of all the patterns that are going on in your life, and that's when you unlock that pattern. And when I worked with a trauma coach one-on-one, it was just transformative. I can't find a big enough word to describe what I've been through, and what I went through that healing journey, because it brought so much awareness, and awareness comes from within. My trauma coach couldn't make me aware of what was going on, but you have to be ready, and you have to be willing to take the first step towards that awareness and creating the life that you desire. But once I did that, and once I learned about trauma and how it gets trapped in the body, and the somatic work and the nervous system and everything, which again I talked a little bit more about in my podcast, I just couldn't go back. There was no way of going back. It was seeing the light at the end of the tunnel and finally just getting some knowledge and some sense of what has actually been going on. So that was truly transformative for me. And after I went through that journey, obviously I couldn't stop there. So I kept going. I found more coaches. I found more courses. I was learning all the information myself to also be able to teach other people, reading all the books that I could get my hands on that had to do with trauma and just the body overall. And I was able to finally make that connection of understanding why talk therapy doesn't work a lot of the times, because we're so in our head and it's like mindset work, mindset work, mindset work. But that's not the case. It really needs to be body and mind connection. You can't just focus on the one and abandon the other. But body work especially is incredible because that's where all the trauma gets trapped. So I just went on a little rant there. But that was really the reason I created Sexy Soul Manifestation Academy, because I learned all this knowledge and it was like, where has this stuff been my whole life? And then I started looking at people around me and all the traumas that they've gone through, and then you start to like pick up things everywhere, like, oh my God, you're doing this because of that, and look at this pattern and look at that pattern. And then you start to notice the patterns in your own life. And interestingly enough, when I was doing this work, some relationships in my life, you know, with friends and all, and work and so on and so forth, they started breaking down because I was in this loop of choosing certain people to be in my life because of the trauma that I had endured and the coping mechanisms that I learned with it. And once you start to heal, you start to see that situations change and people might leave your life. And that's because you're now a healed version of yourself, and they were meant to be with the unhealed version of yourself, because you're now stepping into your higher self rather than performing from an ego standpoint. So that was really transformative for me, and that's really the main reason why I wanted to create this academy, to be able to deliver this information forward. And then obviously I started, you know, doing that stuff with people that are closest in my life and coaching them, and I just saw such an incredible difference. And you know, there was no going back after that. So it was really, really incredible, and I'm so excited to have finally launched it, and I'm so excited for you guys to be able to dive into my world as well and see my work and heal one little bit at a time. You know, with every YouTube video, with every podcast, with every Instagram post, there's something that we can do to heal one little bit at a time. Okay, now I want to talk to you guys about the name and why I chose Sexy Soul for the name of my business, because I've definitely had certain people kind of laugh and, you know, judge the name a little bit and whatnot, but there's a lot of meaning behind it. And so I want you to just think about this. If you were to look at a person that you consider sexy, what does that person embody? What are they like? Because for me, that person is very confident. That person is very secure in themselves. That person is very authentic. That person radiates with a certain level of energy and positivity that is very attractive. And most importantly, that person is very, very much in their essence, that you just can't help deny the fact that they are very sexy. And it's funny because Gabby Bernstein, who's also an incredible entrepreneur, and she has the book Super Attractor, which was an incredible book. I highly recommend if you guys read it. She had commented before and said, there is nothing sexier than being in your most authentic truth. And I couldn't agree more. And it's because when we are so much in our essence, we radiate with an energy that is irresistible. And one of my favorite Mexican actresses as well, her name is Martha Igregada, she had also said that spiritual connection is very sexy. And it is, because again, very strong, authentic truth that you hold. And once you hold that, it's very irresistible. And that was really one of the main goals that I wanted to have behind my business. I wanted my business to hold very true, authentic truth. I wanted everybody to embody their most authentic and sexy self, that they were just irresistible to themselves first and foremost, and then out to the world. Because who doesn't want to be called sexy? Who doesn't want to be confident? Who doesn't want to radiate with positive energy? Who doesn't want to embody that self-truth within themselves, within their community, within their family, within their friends, and everything that comes along with it? So once we hold this authentic truth of knowing who you are, of being secure, of being confident, and what I mean by being secure is having healed from all the trauma that you have endured, that you're very secure in yourself, and you know what you want, and you know what your triggers are, and you are very aware. And that awareness also is very, very attractive. It's very sexy because it makes you much more attractive in the eye of the people who actually might need some healing. Once you are very aware of yourself and you know how to control your emotions and you have that emotional intelligence, it is very irresistible. And that's what I wanted to embody in my academy. I wanted people to experience that as well. That sure, it's about healing and about manifesting the life that you want, but it's about being authentic. It's about being who you are. It's about becoming your highest version of yourself, becoming your higher self and no longer operating from that ego standpoint. And that is really the main reason why I chose that name. And while I know people out there take it as a sexualized term, that was not my intention behind it at all. My intention behind it was for men and women out there to really embody who they are and who they were before all of the trauma happened, you know, because a lot of us don't even remember what we were like before the trauma. And it's very unfortunate, but again, you know, trauma does that have effect. And if we can peel back all the layers of this conditioned person that we have become, we can finally reveal our most authentic truth and our authentic self and be the most sexy and vibrant version of ourselves. So that is the reason why I created Sexy Soul Manifestation Academy, the Healing Academy, the coaching, the master classes. There is a lot more that is on the way that you guys will see soon, and I can't wait for you to see it. And thank you for tuning in today, and I will see you next time. Bye.